Patrice O'Neal!
Patrice was the guy. You know, he was a comic's comic, which is, I think, the dopest thing that you can be. When the comedians love you, it's just a different nod of approval.
I don't mind a little racism.
I'm afraid of going to hell for being like a devout, wrong shit.
Let's discuss harassment.
It's not the subject.
For a second.
Nobody owns the subject. It's what you say about it. And what he had to say about everything he spoke about was absolutely only his.
Think about what cheating is. Cheating is a guy going out trying to make himself happy without you knowing it because he doesn't want to make you upset. So really, it's for you.
He was just always better than us. So whatever we were struggling with, he was beyond it.
One of the funniest, realist comics of all time.
He's one of the greatest comedians to ever live. He's a first-round Hall of Famer.
He wasn't the most well-known comedian in America because there's no justice. There's no justice.
I mean, I know this documentary is supposed to be like, Patrice O'Neal, oh my God, one of the best, the greats.
What are you trying to win?
Patrice took it too far all the time. All the time he took it too far. But that was part of his charm.
Oh my God, I'm finished. See that white woman there? I'm done. My career's over. She look like she writes letters to the governor and shit.
Patrice was a genius who constantly shot himself in the foot.
This crowd stinks.
I don't really see myself as an entertainer. Like, I realize I don't really like entertaining people.
He said, be the truth at all costs.
I thought I would have a white slave button. I thought big old fat white girl gonna warm my bed up. Get upstairs, Susan.
You know, he used to say this thing about, killing is easy. Once you learn how to kill as a comedian, killing is easy. Everybody in the room is laughing, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted the truth.
Hey, look, I gotta go, man. Y'all take care of yourself. Thank you very much.
Just relax.
Yeah, just be you.
I couldn't be any more relaxed. Well, this is what you do. You go like this. Breathe. Stand
Yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of casting directors watching.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna get a special out of this.
Yeah. Who's that fellow? That fellow with the hat?
You got fucking crow eyes. Look at you.
Crow's feet, you dumb fuck.
You're
Crow's eyes.
What do you think he'd think about a documentary being made?
He would act like he hated it, but he would love it.
But he would complain it took so long. He would be annoyed that it wasn't made literally the first
You know, there's a lot of people that weren't that sad when Patrice died.
Yeah, and there was a lot of tears and a lot of balloons.
I was born during when black people named their children. They had to name them after somebody important black. So there's a lot of Marcuses, a lot of Malcolms. You know, my middle name's Malcolm.
During that time, you know, we were all finding ourselves, learning about our African roots, and my cousin wanted to name him Lumumba.
After Patrice Lumumba, the first Congo president, and my mother said, no, I'd like him to have some sort of life, so I'll make a deal with you that I'm gonna name him Patrice instead of Lumumba, because it's better for somebody to go, is that a girl's name, than to go, what the hell is that? A Lumumba.
In the formative years, he was very inquisitive, very inquisitive. So he always asked a lot of questions. Of course, he was very talkative, so he was frequently in trouble that way.
You're from Roxbury, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Now, most Americans have no idea how racist Boston is.
A lot of things I learned about racism that you don't learn unless you live in a place like Boston. It was a summer camp, I think I was 10, and this kid called me a nigger. This little white kid called me a nigger and ran, and I chased him. And he ran to where there was adults, and I grabbed him, and when I put my hands on him, I got thrown out of camp. I'm like, he called me a nigger. It's like, yeah, nigger. So I learned a lesson that you have the skin color of the enemy.
I had to talk to him about a lot of things. You know, he only had me to come to. I had to be mom and dad, which most single parents do. And so you have to let them know that there's a Black male child, people are always gonna judge you by what you look like.
He was a good brother, a good older brother, taught me a lot of stuff. I remember we would go to the rec center every day, and he would go play basketball with his friends, and I would just sit there, and I'd have my little book, and I have to read my book, and then I would have to talk about my book. He would say, well, what was the book about? I don't think you read that right. You need to read it again. I'm like, well, that's what it was. And he's like, no, that's not what it's about. And he would tell me what it was about, and I'm like, well, I didn't get that from it, and read it again.
This is where it all began. This is the home of Patrice O'Neal, you know, better known to us as Bruiser. I guess you guys know him as Patrice O'Neal. We used to call him Bruiser. You know, wasn't just a nickname because that's kind of what you give guys when they're 6'6", 350, 360, you know what I mean? You give them big guy names, you know, you give them big, rough and tough names, so, you know.
This was the spot. His house pretty much became the meeting spot.
Yeah.
Story after story, telling joke after joke.
You know, comedy kind of was his thing, you know? Bruiser, big as he is, you know, dude wasn't the sexiest dude, you know what I mean? But he had the gift of gab. He had a mouthpiece.
I've been fat all my life, so funny it was a defense mechanism all the time. You walk in the room, and I used to go, I'm gonna get a motherfucker before you get me. And I liked pretty girls, and I found out that I could laugh my way into some pretty pussy.
I remember times where we're wondering like how to break ice, how to like, you know, approach, you know, females or whatever.
Yeah.
Bruiser would kind of like slice through all of that. Like, hey, yeah, it's whatever, you know?
You know, he
really,
said hello to you, better say hello back. Because if you don't say hello and try to get fancy with it, he'd jump all over you.
At least. And it wasn't the typical fuck you bitch. You know, it wasn't the typical,
he had to get
it wasn't
personal.
that.
He'd get completely personal.
It was like, I'm gonna look at your shoes, what you're wearing, you're walking, right,
like,
right.
I know why you're here. Why y'all here with her?
Your hairdo, you know what I mean?
She driving,
hey,
you know?
she's making your whole team look bad, you know what I mean? Like, man, just
Exactly.
roast her. Yeah.
He was always funny. He must have woke up in the morning funny, because he came off that bus and he never shut up, and he was always talking, and he was always surrounded by people, and they were always laughing. I had an open door policy in my office. Not a lot of the students, for obvious reasons, would just come in and say hello. Well, he did. He'd pop his head in, hey, Mr. P, what's going on? Sit down. And he'd just talk about anything he wanted to talk about. But after he would leave, you thought about some of the things he said. He was talking about issues, but he had a different slant on those issues.
Even if it was something as simple as the basketball court, for instance, Bruiser would point out, notice how when you go to the white side of town, you see the lines on the basketball court. You see the foul line, you see the out of bounds lines. When you go to the hood, you don't see any lines. You just see a basketball go down here, a basketball go down there. Oftentimes, they don't have nets on them. You know what I mean? So he kind of was, you know, aware of those things, you know what I mean? And noticed the balanced nature, you know, of that whole aspect.
He was thinking on a whole different level than we were thinking.
Very much so.
Very much so.
I got into this business because I was a funny person, and this was the natural, you know, progression to a funny person can actually make money. There's a thing, you know, if there was no such thing as comedy, I'd just be a funny guy working at the supermarket or whatever.
We first met, I just started doing comedy. I started in 92, and I think he started sometime in 93. And I was at the Comedy Connection, Faneuil Hall, and he was a door guy there. I don't remember that he was particularly funny when I first talked to him. I just knew that he was, like, interesting. Like, oh, who's this guy?
I saw him once as a door guy. And the next time I saw him, I believe we were at Stitches.
And this was like a place that new comics wanted to go. We wanted to go and like try to get, 5 or 7 minutes. And I remember my very first impression of him is he kind of turned to look at me to be like, is this where we can hang? And I was like, yeah, you step right over here. And he stepped over and he was kind of whispering and he was like, oh man, my first night in here. Oh, how do they do it here? And like, we kind of just immediately were going back and forth. I said, oh, so you're here to perform? I hope so. And he put his hand out and it was Bruiser.
What's up, guys? What's going on? How you doing, Bill?
What a show. I will
Yeah.
tell you.
Hey, Patrice, what's happening?
Fuck you.
Okay. I'm going up on stage next. Make these people laugh. And bring the camera right up with me. I'm doing a documentary. It's called The Decline of Comedy. And I'm looking at the beginning.
In the end. It was fun being together. As soon as you saw Patrice or Billy or Dane or any of those guys, that was the fun part of it, because we're in the car just fucking making each other laugh.
That laugh, that was my favorite thing. And so those late nights after, it was kind of like, let's unwrap what we did in comedy, but oh man, if you could get Patrice on a roll, you kind of felt like you had two great shows. You know what I mean? You had the show, and then man, I made Patrice laugh, like the real Patrice laugh. That was like a gift.
We would hang out until like 2 o'clock in the morning, then I would drive Patrice home and I'd talk to him for another hour in the car.
I remember Patrice, he would teach me shit. I mean, he taught me stuff about like black hookers. We were just sitting in my car one night. This older black hooker came by. He's like, you know, black hookers don't go with black dudes, right? I was like, shut the fuck up. He's like, they don't. They only go with white dudes. They like white dudes. I'm like, you're lying. He's like, I'm telling you, man. He goes, white dudes don't negotiate. You just tell them how much it costs and they'll fucking pay you. Black dude's gonna, you know, be like, I'll give you 10. And I was like, bullshit. He called her over. He was like, yo, come here for a second. I remember she came over. He's like, yo, you go with black dude? She's like, fuck that. I was like, what?
I don't mind a little racism. I don't mind a little bit of it. That's what makes America America, man. I don't mind a little bit. It's just these fanatical racists, man, that say, we should have never ended slavery. You should have kept them slaves. Should have never freed them. Come on, okay, I don't care what your degree of racism is, right? Think about this. Racism or slavery in 1994? What the fuck is that gonna be? Fax this, nigga.
I remember watching him and just thinking, well, I'm not gonna be the best comedian in Boston. This guy's the best I've ever seen. And the joke I remember, I remember most of the set, but one joke he opened up by saying, I hate fat people.
Like, you know, fat strangers, they speak to me in the middle of the street like we got some sort of, you know, bond or something like, you know, hey, I eat too. I don't know you.
Every fat guy did fat jokes back then, and they would kill, and you made a great living being the fat guy. And then he went up there and he says, I hate fat people.
Get extra happy, like, you know, hey, big man, represent, man, represent. Represent what? You know, fat people. When I become the leader of fat people, I don't want to lead fat people nowhere. What are we gonna do? March? The $1 million march. We're gonna walk. You know, like a Malcolm XXL or something. You know. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I remember seeing him maybe 6 or 9 months after the Malcolm XXL jokes, and he was doing something completely different. He was doing long form, and he was telling stories, and I remember saying, he can go on to this new thing, but he should still do the Malcolm XXL because it kills. And somebody said, Gary, he doesn't want to be the guy telling the Malcolm XXL jokes. He wants to be Pryor. And I thought, oh, then he probably will be.
White women make me nervous. I'm horrified of white women. Not now, because there's witnesses, but I'm talking about at night, you know what I mean? If you walk somewhere and a white woman's coming towards me and she's looking at me and she's making me a little, oh my God, Jesus, he's a big guy, I'm scared. And I'm kind of in the same mode in my mind, like, oh, Jesus Christ, I hope nothing happens to her. around me. If she gets killed, let her get killed away from me. I don't want to get blamed. Like, I'm always prepared, too. I always have an alibi. Like, I keep my receipts all day long. I just have a pocket full of receipts, just a trail of where I've been, just in case the cops are like, where was you at 6 o'clock? I'm like, I was buying a CD. And I make sure when I bought that CD, people in the store remember me. I'm as loud and obnoxious as possible. And I'm buying this goddamn CD!
He was doing material that crowds in Boston weren't really accustomed to seeing.
As far as like what was the racial dynamic of Boston stand-up when we came, it was non-existent. It was just all white guys and like maybe a half dozen female comics. I remember driving home one night and he was trying to have me, like he was trying to guess which comics he thinks regularly say the N-word. And he was doing it in this funny way. And I was just throwing out names because it kind of became like a game. He's like, motherfucker, you can tell by his fucking shoes and his tight ass jeans. He probably wakes up, that's part of his yawn or something like that. And it's just, he had me dying laughing. And it was one of those things where I think I was really young, where I was just kind of like going, oh, wow, this is cool. This is sound like, you know, those Richard Pryor albums that I heard when I was growing up. You know, I didn't understand like the pain that was causing him.
I was not gonna sit around and try to figure out how to stop Boston from being Boston. You know what I mean? It's just, I gotta get out of here. Every week, take a Greyhound bus and go to New York City.
The first time we all drove down, me, Dane, Billy, Patrice, we all came down together in this one truck. I think Dane's girlfriend's fucking big SUV or whatever the fuck it was. I mean, we all went down and we all just went to the cellar. Just kind of stood there and... Okay, and then we all went up to the Strip and just stood there and none of us were in. Went to the Boston Comedy Club and kind of just hung out there for a little bit. And then we went to a peep show.
He was coming back and forth a lot. Then I said, you just moved to New York. If you want to come through, I'll have room for you. So he said, all right. And then he ended up moving in my kitchen. That was his little thing, pull the curtain up. It was just bad.
I mean, I started in Boston, but I made my bones, I think. You know, I grew up in the Boston Comedy Club in New York, probably. They gave me more time, they gave me more space. You know, I was able to kind of really work out what's on your mind without, you know, endangering your career.
Boston Comedy Club was real hot at that time. Everybody there was killing. Dave Chappelle, Dave Attell, Jay Moore, Louis C.K. was coming through. And I seen the look in Patrice's eyes, because I said, yo, you want to go on? He said, no, I'm not ready. I'm like, huh? I think that's the last time I've ever seen Patrice be humble.
When he came to New York, he wasn't one of these guys that had that dirty word potential. It's a dirty, dirty word. It means you're not there, bro. Like when he walked into a room, I remember I was thinking, okay, here he is. There's only one wolf. It ain't me anymore.
I remember the first time I watched him do a set in that club, and it was just, you know, kind of when you see somebody and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe this is somebody I haven't seen before. He was doing material about being a black man and, you know, he would never litter. That was it.
Like, I don't litter. I don't throw garbage in the street. Not because I care about the earth, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna be walking through the park drinking a soda or something. When I'm done, I'll just throw it over my shoulder. It'll fly over a bush and roll down a hill and land on some dead white woman's head with my fingerprints on the fucking can. Now I'm the Pepsi Cola rapist because I'm lazy.
I've never seen him with a piece of paper. I never see him wrote a joke down. I never heard him go, yo, you think this is funny? He would do everything in the form of philosophy. He would just be like, yo, Bobby, you see this chick? She was, you know, fucking a dog. I'm like, what? He'd be like, yeah. And all of a sudden, he'd be talking about it. But yeah, but if you came in, I know, but let 1 second. If you came in, just hear me out. If you came in, and for 1 second you got a little heartbeat in your dick, does that make you fuck? Then he'd go on stage that night and bring all these conversations he had about this subject. Whatever the fuck it was, he would bring it up on stage and kind of do that on stage. You can kind of hear that in his comedy.
I'm a dictator, a commentator. I'm self-absorbed when I'm up there. It's like you are doing what I want you to do. Like even when people come in the audience and they get mad, I'm like, what you want me to do? Did you want me to like send you an email early to let you know what I want to talk about?
I always see how fast I can piss off a crowd and see if I can bring them back. It may not happen because there's not a lot of y'all, and it's not good. Yeah, you know. Well, let's continue to talk to you then.
I'm not a big fan of making people laugh every 5 fucking seconds. Like I don't even see myself as an entertainer. Like I realize I don't really like entertaining people. Like I realize I'm not gonna try to do everything I can so you can have a good time. Like I think a juggler is an entertainer because he just does what he does, or a magician. But like I don't think a good comedian entertains anybody.
Look at her serious face over there. Not you. This fucking lady with the oh what? Oh, you got really mad. Go ahead.
Like, sometimes I like running people out my show. Get out, go.
All right, bitch. Yeah. She leave, then you give it to her outside. I hope you go someplace and have a lot of fun.
Stand-up is really about dissecting humanness, the flaws of being human. And as I watched Patrice, it was a very honest take on sort of this destructive human being that's on stage. And for me, that was interesting to watch.
I met Patrice at a college gig, and he was such an asshole. I don't remember when I started liking Patrice, or why.
When did I first meet Patrice? I don't even know. All I know is all of a sudden we're good friends. Patrice, Keith, Norton, and myself would just hang outside Boston Comedy Club till 3 in the morning, just trashing each other, and people would stick their head out the window and yell, "Shut up!" People try to sleep.
End of '99, 2000 is when I started going to New York, and I was introduced to Patrice O'Neal. Patrice was a name that you needed to know, so I was very kind, and in return I got, who's this dummy? Ugh. That's what I remember. Ugh.
Nothing! You gotta go! Patrice O'Neal at that time was an asshole. I'm pretty sure there are some people that are lying on this documentary. They're talking about how sweet he was. Because in death, you say good things about people. But in the vein of Patrice O'Neal, I'll keep it honest, he was a fucking asshole. But he was a funny asshole, he was a likable asshole, and he had the honest voice.
My favorite memories, besides my kids being born and my ex-wife leaving me, were hanging out with our crew.
Just hanging out in the Comedy Cellar. They used to have a table in the back.
It was like Patrice, Bobby, Kev, Colin, Billy, Norton, Keith.
What was good about being in with that crew is that we didn't let nobody get away with nothing.
We used to fuck with each other back.
Yeah.
Me and Norton and them, we used to have hat court. Where we would, we would put your bit up on trial. I think that this bit sucks that you do.
What was so funny about him being such a dick to people and breaking their balls is because no matter what he said, everybody knew that he was better than them.
It made us tough, and it made us more comfortable. There was nothing that you could say to any of us that would bother us. I remember one of my first spots at the Boston Comedy Club. I'm excited. I got a spot.
It's like 4 people in the crowd, maybe 5. Nobody's laughing. In the back of the room, I hear, ugh. At this point, I'm sweating. I'm just nervous. And then out of nowhere, boom!
Patrice and I, from the back of the room, were heaving fucking phone books at Kevin Hart.
And Patrice said, call anybody in there and ask them if you made the right decision. This ain't for you, man. Ugh. And they all walked out the door one by one. Boo. Boo.
We would sit there and comics would walk in, see all of us, and look and just make a U-turn and say, fuck it, I'm not going back there. Because they knew they were going to get fucking beaten down.
I used to do that.
You used to walk away?
I used to come down in, I would have 5 insults ready for everybody, just to get you off me so I could come down and see what time I was going on.
Patrice beat down Eddie If so bad. No one else could say it. He called him Eddie Ugh. He beat him down for 45 minutes.
One of the funniest lines he ever had, Eddie was going back and forth, and Eddie's like, I do a lot of colleges. And Patrice said, yeah, you do PU because you stink.
You did good, He's man. Like, yeah, speechless right now.
Fucking zero convention. Come on, let's go.
A zero
wow, with the phony act.
This is a zero convention.
There was no elitism in Patrice, but I think there's just, you have to be a certain type of person wired in a similar way to Patrice to handle him.
Being funny, you got to take chances. And sometimes the chance you take may hurt somebody's feelings. And you go, oh, I went too far. But you want that laugh, too.
He had a big heart, but he didn't show it. He had an armor around it. But if you got to know him and he liked you, he would do a lot for you.
He was loud, and he's 6'7", so that's automatically intimidating. So when you got into just a discussion with him sometimes, some people thought this was a serious argument, but it's not.
This comedy thing, a lot of it's a mask. You know, we're all assholes together and assholes to people, but deep down he was a good person.
I remember one time, he was on the phone, he was in his car, he was driving, and he said, I ate her pussy out. That's what I do, I always eat the pussy out. Yeah, well then, if she wants to suck my dick, I don't care, I'm still gonna eat her pussy out. Right, all right, I'll talk to you later. And I go, yo, who was that? That was my mom.
Everything. He talked about everything because he lived in a truth about who he was.
You know, first time I got my asshole licked, I cried like a I was like, I made a sound like this. I went, I was mad at her and loving her at the same time.
He tells one story about his first pornography book, which happened to be my book, Our Bodies, Ourselves. And he read that book back to back. And then he would talk about things out of that book. Oh, well, my favorite is this, and my favorite is that. And it taught him about women.
I remember when I started poking, first touching pussy, like I remember I hit the little ball in the back of the pussy. I didn't know what it was. You remember remember you first hit the ball? I thought it was a kidneys. I was like, what is that? What the fuck is that? Is that your liver? I just touched the ball in your pussy, and I'm just poking, getting carpal tunnel syndrome and shit. That's not my steez no more. Mine's is this. Mine's is what I guess they call it the, come here, the change. They call it reach for the change. You just slide it in and you can just hear.
I remember watching Patrice's set one day and grabbing my chest. And that's something you do when you get old. That's an old woman or old man trait. When you, oh God.
Man, I love stinking ass bitches, man. Like spitters and I like girls that spit, gag. Cause my dick ain't that big, so if a girl gag on my dick, I'll be like, for real?
He was funny about sex. He tried to get my wife into swinging. It's like...
You ever been a mistress? Be honest. You ever been a side girl? You ever messed with a guy that had a girlfriend? Never. You never did. There's girls out there that sleep with other women's men, right? And they feel bad. What about them? I want to love her too. I don't want to just fucking go over her house at 2 in the morning and fucking drink an orange juice. Talk to her for 30 seconds and get the fuck out there to go home to my real woman. I want to bring you there, introduce you to my girl. Maybe y'all get along.
There's no good secret about Patrice. That's an ongoing question. Was he different on stage or on TV versus at home? No. He was that all the time.
I get mad at my girl because I look at myself naked and I go, I would never fuck me. Then I start looking at her like, what's this bitch up to? But she just loves me. I don't deserve her fucking love. God damn.
When we first met, I don't think he liked me very much, but there was something about him that I liked because he just had that presence. You know, he was confident, he was charming, but yeah, it was a slow process of us getting to the point where we were in a relationship. We didn't have sex for like the first year.
So he didn't have sex for a year?
Oh, he didn't have sex for a year? That's a good question. I know I wasn't having sex. He probably was.
Listen, how long y'all been together? Almost 2 years. You sure? All right, because my girl been with me for 8 years. I've been with her for 3.
That was our life. You know, our life was material. Our life was on stage.
Let me ask you a question. Here's a question. Here's a good, serious question. Okay, ladies, if you didn't have a vagina, like say it was a terrible train accident, right? And the doctor was like, we have to remove your pussy right away or you're gonna die. How would you keep your man past, you get a 2-month guilty, I can't leave the bitch right away because you just lost a pussy in a train accident. Can't just walk right out on her. How would you keep your man past that if you didn't have a vagina? Suck his dick, okay, mouth. Asshole, okay, great. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I've been getting pussy beamed the whole show, right? But I give women the opportunity to say, I'm gonna make myself worth more. But you just classified yourself as a series of holes, but you know, I'm supposed to treat you special, but you're just a bunch of holes to yourself.
When you listened to him, you really felt like you were taking the red pill. Oh, I could see now, you know, this is how it really is. Is that the right one, the red pill? I never know if it's the red or the blue.
Welcome to Tough Crowd, folks. The vision of Tough Crowd was a combination of the Comedy Cellar table and the fact that it was the beginning of people being offended in political correctness, yet I'd walk to the bathroom at the Comedy Cellar, you have to use the bath, and there would be people on stage saying all these things that were supposedly offensive to a very multinational, multiracial crowd, and everyone's laughing. So I was like, wait, this should be at least shown, you know? So that was the vision to me.
What the hell did you just say? I don't even know what you just said. First of all, here's the reason. This is what white people don't understand. White people have been stealing stuff for years. You took Jesus, you took rock and roll, tried to claim it as yours, and I'm saying you is not the skin color, not Irish. White people would be slaves if they could, just to steal it.
That whole thing developed because of the dynamic that was started by Patrice O'Neal.
Tough Crowd, he would stand up.
Shut your mouth, stupid. Oh my God!
Listen, shut up. You're 14 drinking coffee.
I remember the first couple episodes, we were all going, he's hogging the goddamn camera.
John didn't even believe a word he said. He just wrote it, and he was stuck by it. God damn it.
I think he and Colin, too, wanted an honest discussion, but you're going to be working with comics that don't know, that just learned about the Iraq War last night while they were doing their homework after they got the list of topics.
Shut up, Lori.
Wait a minute. He had an instant opinion. Great comics have instant opinions. Ask them something. They'll tell you, and it's probably not what you thought it was going to be.
You're not condemning him for that, are you?
Look, if we die, everybody else dies. That's why I like GW.
Yeah.
GW, because if we die, everybody else dies.
Shut up! He's right. If we die, everybody else dies.
My memories of Patrice on Tough Crowd is like that, first of all, half the comedians wanted to kill him, and they wanted to kill me because I indulged him. He was like, I let him get away with murder on that show.
Many of you hate me because some of your favorite comics come on the show and they can't get a word in edgewise. Trust me, they ain't got nothing to say.
But it's because it was so compelling and interesting to watch somebody working that I was like, all right, let him finish. I want to see where this goes.
If black people had one face to call the leader of race, like of slavery, like, cause it's too broad. We just hate too many of you. If you just made like one dude with a funny mustache and a big bike, like, he was the dude that made slavery. We'll be like, all right, we hate him. And then we can move on.
Yeah. That's very smart.
Tough Crowd was my thing, man. I loved it with all my heart. I haven't done anything since that I love as much as I love Tough Crowd.
What it was is like, for me, I would love to tell my point of view, no matter what it is, and just really talk shit and tell my opinion.
I'm not gonna bet. I'm gonna strap one of your jokes to myself and run through Palestine.
He changed the dynamic of the room. But I honestly think it has something to do with being an original thinker. And it's so rare that people are really attracted to it.
And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patrice O'Neal.
We'd hustle to, open up any opportunity, any door we could. And at that time, he pretty much walked through any door that presented itself. So acting.
7 years, man. That shit ain't no joke, man.
Damn.
Oh, damn. Little ass teeth. Got dolphin teeth.
We had him on 2 animated shows.
F you, bitch.
And the rest of development.
Well, bananas are business, man. Just you in a banana this day.
T-Bone, what are you doing here?
Oh, your dad gave me this job.
He had a lot of fans in the business early on, people who really wanted to champion him.
I'm Patrice O'Neal, and I'm your host of VH1 and iFilm.com's WebJunk 20.
In the office, that was the case.
Damn it, Michael. Pay attention, man.
But from my understanding of it was that he was just exhausting on set. That was it. He was, he'd just give everybody shit.
His thing was he didn't like lesser talent telling him what to do. You know what I mean? We were sitting in between takes one time, and he just expressed to me that just certain people he just didn't like telling him, this is how it's done. That didn't sit well with him.
Folks, when friends see other friends messing up, you don't talk behind their back, you pull an intervention. Patrice O'Neal needs my help. He goes out to Hollywood recently. This is all true. Doesn't get the fame and money he deserves. Why? He's got what they call an attitude problem. Let's take you back to LA 3 weeks ago and reenact Patrice on the set of some TV show he's doing a guest spot on. First, you get there early in the morning. First person you meet is the young production assistant, an enthusiastic innocent usually.
You excited?
It's 6 in the morning. What are you, no, I'm not excited. All I'm doing is 3 lines in a stupid show. What are you doing? You're just a call sheet girl.
What?
Well, you just what? You're meaningless. Your life, you're a phony. Beat it.
Oh my God.
What? I'm just trying to help her, Colin.
He really believes he's trying to help her, and you people are saying, "Oh, we made up the dialogue."
She was being a phony.
That was a nice version of what he said.
It was
to
6 in the morning.
Patrice's flaw was he didn't want to succumb to what he felt was the bullshit of the business.
Okay, let's say the show's star showed up.
Hey, man, how's it going? Hey, man. Hey, everything's cool, but that script, that sucks, man.
Some of those things were the baby steps that should have been taken to ignite the next levels of his career. I just don't think that he ever gave that side of it a true chance.
He went after everybody. He went after people in the business who could hurt him. He went after directors and producers. You know, I was on the set of Furry Vengeance with him, and I wanted to choke him. You know, it was me and him were doing this dumb film together. They were sitting there, and the director's telling us something.
Real quick, after the jump.
And Patrice was making it known that he was disgusted. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He's gonna get fired. And I'm saying to him, what are you doing? He didn't give a shit. He was letting the director know. He just couldn't. Patrice lived his life as if he thought a movie of his life would be shown to his friends after, and he'd get called out if he didn't talk shit when he was supposed to.
Hey, my name's Patrice O'Neal, and I've been fighting with crackers my whole life, and it's got me no place. I just wish I'd have took some time to understand them a little bit more. I wonder what my life would have been.
Perfect.
Hey, let's get it.
He had an opportunity with Comedy Central to do a pilot.
Now pay attention.
Which turned out to be a disaster. He believed in his idea so much, and he just saw it all falling apart.
I wrote a few pilots for him, and he kind of made me a partner. Network execs were so put off by him, and like sitting in meetings with him that you'd think would be going so well, like, oh, slam dunk, we're totally getting this pilot. And then he would just be extra him all of a sudden, and we just, you could just see the deals and see like the possibilities just completely disappear because of it.
Sure. Do you know what you're gonna say? No.
As a black guy coming to a business like this, when you meet with folks mostly white that don't know you, you don't know them. So how do you come across to something that's not familiar? Frustration is the adjustments that you feel as though you gotta make and adjustments that you actually gotta make. It's a mind fuck. And then it's a long journey to yourself again.
Come over here, I want to show you something, the future.
Man had real talent, man.
He was my idol coming up, man.
Shut up, stupid. You see, Patrice, your friends can't believe you died. They're very sad. You died of poverty because nobody wanted to do a show with a 300-pound, angry you-know-what.
What is it that you're trying to do here? What are you...
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed with making it. Like, I don't, but at the same time, Ron, I don't want to be no martyr either. I hate when people, I'd rather some people come up to me and go, you suck, other than going, you're the best comic I've ever seen. And then I dig my pockets, I go, really?
Yeah.
That's my struggle.
Right.
Is, all right, I'm just going to do it for the money. Because my mother, everybody wants me to do it for the money. See, a lot of things in this game is weird, is they try to give you golden handcuffs all the time. And golden handcuffs is when, like, if you're out of control, somebody just gives you something to control you. So you got nothing, they give you 5 G's, give you something, make you scared of losing 5 G's, and then that's how they beat you into being a slave. It's like, hey man, we're gonna give you this, but you're gonna have to spin in a circle and do this on top of your head and spin it. Nah, nope, I ain't good.
Patrice had a very clear idea of the kinds of material he wasn't interested in. But he was also torn. He was torn between wanting to have attention and wanting to have success and not caring about having attention or having success.
You know, it's difficult to tell the truth, but you gotta start telling the truth because it kills you. It takes something out of you when you are phony. You know, I'd rather die than be phony, really, because it kills me. And it's not worse. Like, I'm depressed, but I'm not suicidal. Do you know how, like, horrible resistance that is wanting to kill yourself, but you just can't, you won't kill yourself? Do you understand what that is? So I have to figure out a way to make myself happy, and that's not to lie.
You know, comedy's an interesting phenomenon in that, really, to do the best work in the art form, you really have to not give a shit about what anybody thinks. But you're in show business, and what people think is your bread and butter.
So, say it again, I'm sorry.
I know my history, I know my propensity, what I am inclined to do or inclined to be. So I'm like, if I can't present myself
a certain way because I know my inclinations to be who I am would destroy that anyway. Like web junk, when I used to do web junk, you know, I was the web junk guy. Hey, everybody, you know, I probably could have been a celebrity if I just hung in there and stayed doing web junk. But then I would have had 18-year-old girls at my show, at my live show, going,
this is not funny. This is not the web junk guy. This is weird. I don't know. He's talking about fucking fingers in girls' butts, and this is stupid. I don't want.
His ultimate mission was to be himself and be honest. That's the thing that rang out from him. That's the force that he couldn't turn off, and that directed him. And then that sometimes that path and that force, which was stronger than his desire to make it, would clash and hinder the one to make it in comedy and be a show business.
I remember when he got the Showtime thing. He was staying at my house. He was screaming, got into a big fight with the production, the director. I remember he cried because he's like, why can't I just be me? Why do I have to fucking fold for these people?
In comedy, he always knew what he fucking wanted. He said no to so many people because he just didn't want to do it. I mean, he told fucking Puffy no, Spike Lee no. He told fucking major players no. That's not what.
But some of that was fear of failing, and like when you actually up the bat, and now it's your turn, then you do it, and it's right there, and you say, hey, you're the guy, and now you got to perform. And I think a lot of it was like, am I going to be really good at this?
The thing is with that, you know, I don't want to set myself up for a fall from grace. Meaning this, you get caught being who you are, like Pee Wee Herman, jerking off in public. That's what he is. But he was being a kid's superstar, and it's like this. When I do my shit, I want to make sure, like Web Junk would have been my Pee Wee Herman, because I have the propensity to jerk off in public. So I got to find out who the fuck is gonna ride with me as who I am.
Rich Voss is in the studio. Voss, what's up, man? He looks like a proud papa.
I'm not a proud papa.
Because he's introducing Patrice to Ant and I and our listeners. Patrice is a really funny guy. Is he funnier than you?
Yes.
O&A was a hugely popular radio show in the shock jock genre. It was a place for a lot of comics to showcase their talents.
I like when Voss is plowing through the same old crap. And
It's awful, isn't it? He won't write. Lenny Bruce got more new jokes.
It was just like doing Tough Crowd, hanging at the Cellar. It's just us hanging out, and now we're on radio.
He fell in love. Norton got dumped by a prostitute.
Patrice was the most honest person I ever met in my life. He knew where the gray areas were in topics, and he explored that all the time.
Patrice has a very interesting way to look at women.
I told my girl she's the fourth most important thing in my life.
Fourth.
I look at like the whole kind of radio era and all that stuff was like, it was like a show.
And I'm gonna tell you what the three ahead of her was.
I'll guess.
Was me, my career,
Family?
my mother, and then her.
Jesus.
Then she goes, I consider you to be the person I'm gonna grow old with, so I kind of put you ahead of like my mother or whatever. And I go, oh wow, well thanks, but you're fourth.
And then he was great at it. I just didn't want to see him become a crony. Like, you're the angry black dude who's gonna come in and you're hugely opinionated, and I just knew he was more than that.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Let's go to John in Utah. John.
Patrice saved my marriage. I was the doting husband, and it was all about her. So I started going, well, what would Patrice do?
What would Patrice do?
It was bad at first, but it's turned her around, and we're happier than we could possibly.
Hear what he said? We're happy. A happy man is a happy relationship. A happy woman is a miserable man.
You got to do a relationship advice show for this channel.
God.
A lot of people are calling you the Black Dr. Phil.
Black Dr.
What about women that settle with these piece of shit men?
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem, and that's where a lot of this anger comes from Patrice, because he has low self-esteem too, and he's covering up with this anger.
The thing is, I don't agree with that. That's low self-esteem for a woman to be with a guy who's an asshole.
It's settling.
That's their innate nature to want to be with a guy that they feel is better than them.
I would never ever date a guy that's like that.
That's why you don't have love in your life.
Not true.
People think I'm a woman hater. I'm not a woman hater. I'm a woman helper. I like to help women. I like to give them advice. And as men, we are so afraid of losing sex that men cancel out their You have to say, look, sweetie, this is how it is.
It was ridiculous. I mean, I didn't listen to it a lot because it just didn't make sense to me. Because I know this idiot. But he was through this phase. I think he read that book, The Pimps Up, Hose Down, Iceberg Slim or some shit. And he adopted a philosophy and shit.
There was a lot of dynamics, like the dynamics of happy life, happy wife, and guys kind of emasculating themselves because of this, you know, that was kind of the movement to emasculate yourself. And he felt like it was unfair.
I'm a complete misogynist through my gut. I am a misogynist. I just believe in that. I just think men, we're better. And I'm not saying it like no rah-rah shit. We're just better.
The style of what he was doing was not to make you feel necessarily better as a person or a human being. It was supposed to get out all of the ugliness of relationships, of the dynamics between female and male, and get it out there. Not a lot of people have patience for that now.
I love making motherfuckers feel uncomfortable because we don't need to feel like this, dude. We need to make them feel uncomfortable, be honest. That's how the relationship works. I fucking make my girl feel, she hate me. You can't even have a relationship if your girl don't hate you. If your girl don't hate you, your relationship is in danger. She has to hate your fucking guts. She has to hate that she love you so much.
It was like he had this one model of what men and women together are like, and then he just kept beating that same drum. It's like, ugh.
I love looking at women when they go, "Rrr." This is how we fucking feel. We don't like you because of the way you're not laughing at me is why we don't like you. Because you don't laugh at nothing. Nothing's funny to you. Nothing. And you're not funny, and then nothing funny's funny.
Female fans would come up to me after shows and stuff like, what the fuck? How do you deal with this every day?
What the fuck is wrong with y'all? And you're always trying to fucking push your girlness into our world. I'm not your friend.
And I would be like, what am I dealing with? What is so wrong with what I'm dealing with? I have a man that loves me, that takes care of me, that doesn't lie to me, that doesn't cheat on me.
Sometimes, you know, I get that pussy feeling when I talk shit to my girl, I tell her the truth and all that, and she gets sad, but I gotta stay on her. Because she's abusive.
I just took it as, this is just how he is, this is just how he talks. And I'm from that place where that's how men talk. Not all of them, but a lot of them, so.
Here's how crazy girls are. I got my girl curse me the fuck out. Cause she saw some girl's boots in my closet. It was some girl I used to date, her boots was in the closet, and it was raining out. She had these new shoes on, so I said, hey, listen, I had another girlfriend, you wear those boots, they're rain boots. She went crazy. What the fuck, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Was she gonna come back and get the boots? She was going off on me. And then I was like, wait a minute, you got a kid that ain't mine. Those boots don't ask you to help with homework, bitch. Those boots don't have nightmares and I gotta talk them motherfuckers through shit. How dare you?
He was the first and only other person besides my father that my mom had ever introduced me to.
And she's like, you know, hey, Hey, Mill. Her kid's name's A Mill. Hey, Mill. This is Mr. P. Mr. P. And A Mill's like, hi, Mr. P. And I'm like, hey. You know, in my head, I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, other guy fucked your mother, you know?
Patrice was around for basically the majority of my adolescence and my middle school life. He, raised me through all of that.
This is how I'm being, and she just keeps, Mr. I'm hungry, Mr. P. Here's some food. That was good. I love you, Mr. P. You should. I'm feeding someone else's kid. You should be fucking very happy I'm doing your daddy's work.
People may not agree with the way he did things all the time, but, Patrice making a joke out of everything really did help me, because he just showed me that a lot of things that I overreacted about were not really that serious, I
love you, Mr. B. I'm like, you book good. You should. And she laughs like, you're funny. I'm like, fucking motherfucker. Now I love the kid. I love somebody else's fucking kid like it's my kid.
He wanted to be a good dad. And he figured it out, but we didn't feel like we needed to have kids of our own to be a family. But I remember I peed on a stick and I was like, yeah, we're pregnant. And we sat down and he said, listen, you're a woman. I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your body. But I wanna be honest and tell you I don't feel comfortable leaving you here with a baby. He was like, I'm not gonna live a long life and I can't leave you like that. So we didn't have the baby. A couple weeks go by and I remember I was cleaning and I picked up a bunch of change and I go to put it in the drawer and I saw the stick, the pregnancy stick. And he was laying on the bed, watching TV with the remote control. And I turned around, I was like, you kept this? And he didn't even look up at me. He just kept, flipping channels. He was like, put that back in the drawer. And I was like, and we never talked about it again.
And that's another thing that's fucking me up, man. I'm starting to think about death, because I'm 38, and that's young relatively, but black years, I'm a 186-year-old white man.
My fucking girl's love is tremendous. I'll tell you a story, and this is why I try my best to stay alive now. When we fuck, we're dirty. Me and my girl really, our filth level is on we go out there. So after a good sex session, right after, she goes, I think you better go to the hospital. Why? She's like, your pee tastes like birthday cake. That's love, nigga. Like, she goes, you nasty motherfucker! You peed in my mouth! She just, ooh, it's delicious. And it shouldn't be.
I remember one time when we did a gig at the Coconut Grove Improv, and we were at a wing place after, where I'd go and I'd get like a dozen wings, and he'd get like 2 dozen wings, and then finish and be like, you wanna get some more wings? And so we were sitting there one night, and he was like, oh man, diabetes, but in classic Patrice fashion, it was that, and a joke, and a tag, and you're like,
I'm diabetic, and that's one of them diseases, like, whatever, man, for real. It's a fucked up disease, but it's like, if you say, hey, man, I got pancreatic cancer, everybody goes, oh, man. You say diabetes, they go, oh, really? Can't eat cookies, faggot? Yeah, the sugar is going up, huh?
He would be talking and joking, but the struggle with food was a struggle.
And addiction is a motherfucker, man. You addicted to something. Some people still smoke. That's heavy. Because you smoke, you still, you know you're gonna get cancer. Like, you know it. You can't even talk to yourself, like, and convince yourself you ain't gonna get cancer. You just be like, shit. You know?
Some people have addictions to alcohol, drugs. His was food, and he was a great cook. So he loved food.
Just angry, man, because they know they're killing themselves as weakness. And I'm not saying that to judge anybody who smokes. I'm saying I fucking saw some white chocolate dipped Oreo cookies.
But he was definitely trying to figure it out. We were vegan for 3 years.
So I started praying for help. Like, I prayed to God for help to not eat cookies. Like, I was praying to God. Like, I didn't pray for a cure for nothing. I didn't pray that the Haitian people get food, nothing. It was for me to not eat cookies.
At one point in his career, he would sit down on stage. And people thought he was doing that. He told me this. People thought he was doing that because that was like his style. But at that point in time, he said he was depressed, so he would just sit down.
So I understand motherfucker that can smoke and be smoking in that poison and still do it, because you just got to tell yourself something. Like, if I eat the cookie, I say to myself, you know what? I don't need both my feet. I ain't no ballerina. I'll just, maybe God will take the left foot and I can still drive. It's fucked up being addicted. If I wasn't a funny person in this business, I'd probably kill myself. Being that the level of respect that I might get as a comic in conjunction with where I am in the business. Only funny can keep me going. I know there's times that if I wasn't a funny motherfucker and just laughed at just how awful things were, I'd kill myself. I know it. Now, I'm not suicidal, but you feel where a motherfucker that don't have the fortitude of being funny would take themselves out.
What have you been wanting to do lately?
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing?
I haven't been thinking about anything. Like, I need a break, like, mentally.
Yeah. I went to this company, and it was like the first company that just wanted to produce web series. And I was like, Patrice, I have carte blanche to, like, sign and do whatever I want with people. And he said, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. I'm like, we can do it.
Hey, welcome to the Patrice O'Neal Show, brought to you exclusively by the Voodoo Network. A bunch of white guys behind the scenes, and I'm sure a Jew or two, let me and my friends kind of have their studios and produce our own TV show and do whatever the fuck we want. Now, how many people get to say that?
You fucking bunch of trying to make it motherfuckers. You can just feel the smell of desperation on all ends. Start with me. Maybe podcasts will do it. Maybe that'll be my career move, is podcasting. Yeah!
We didn't know what we were doing. He just knew that this was an opportunity to be in control.
I have my own weekly web series called PatriceO'Neal.com. Oonga boonga.
We never had a bigger goal. We were never like, this is gonna make us.
Why? She ain't on!
The whole reason we did the web series was just finally, like, he was given the opportunity to, like, say and do and create things with the people that he wanted to create things with.
But I know a lot of stuff about show business and messed with him a lot. This was his stuff, and he was gonna put it on the internet and see what happened. No networks telling him what he can and can't do.
He did that for free for nearly a year. I feel like it was almost therapeutic for him in a way.
I think in this business, you only got about 4 or 5 times to get on the amusement ride. Yeah. I think I've been on the ride twice. And the thing about the roller coaster is it's interesting. It clicks up the click up is just great. Like you're like,
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah,
Click up.
yeah.
I feel it.
People
I
are
feel,
excited.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
see me. They see I'm clicking up. They see I'm on the come up. They feeling good. It's feeling right. Then you go, wee! And you hold your hands up, and then all of the money flies out your pocket, and then everything's gone. And then there's a long line to get back on.
Yeah.
And then you're in the back of the line going, this fucking ride ain't even that great. And you're like, I don't know. If I get on the ride again, dude, I'm probably not going to get back on, but I got to stand in line, this long line. And I'm like, just waiting.
I first met Patrice, and I remember he told me it's not going to be easy because a lot of people don't like me, and I know I pissed a lot of people off in the business. He did have a moment of where he was sort of self-reflective, and he said, I pissed off a lot of people.
I think there was that moment of thawing out that made him go, ugh, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not gonna hurt people. You look at him with his fucking dog, he was gentle. Like, there was a gentleness to him, too.
The biggest thing that I was focused on getting him was a special, because I think the hour is the most important thing in a stand-up comic's career. The one thing I knew is he was ready for it.
He had all of this material that he had been working on for years, and he was funny, but it was profound, it was thought-provoking, it was everything that he is.
He was very excited about that. This was like the crossroads for his career.
I got the chance to see Elephant in the Room being filmed, just being part of the family that got to see it. He was a little nervous, like you straight, I'm like, what are you worrying about us? We're fine, I'll get your mom's there, don't worry about it. Car's coming, we'll be dressed, we'll be there, man.
He kept saying, if this doesn't go well, this could set me back in comedy, in my career, for like 7 years. He's like, I don't have 7 years left.
I don't care who you are, you're generally nervous before you're about to do an hour. But in the case of Patrice, he was very loose, he was having fun.
Thank you. I'm thinking one in particular, pair of titties in the front row. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience coordinator, for putting those titties up in the front row. God bless you.
He was revealing, he was very forthright about who he was, and he had a point of view about all this stuff. The race material in there in particular is so smart.
Congratulations, my friend. Very good, yo. Congratulations to you, my friend. Look at that white woman you're with. God damn. You know how you can tell how pretty a white woman is? The value. You look at her, and then you wonder how long they would look for if she was missing. I saw you look mad, sweetie. How long, if you was missing, how long you think they were? Exactly, she went. You know the deal. I ain't saying nothing wrong. White women's life is valuable. What's his name? Joran Vandersloot, right? We find out he was a serial killer. Man, he kills women. That's what he do. He do it well. You know what I mean? We know the girl that he supposedly had, what's the girl in Aruba? Natalie Holloway, right? But the one, he just killed a girl in Peru. What's her name? Exactly.
He made everyone feel comfortable, and then he got white people to admit that they were racist. Like, he didn't even tell them, oh, you don't know the name of the Peruvian woman. He got them to tell him.
She mad as hell. Fuck that white bitch. Wait, come on. Ain't nobody looking for you. I might look for you, but the news ain't you. Let's be honest. Look, I'm at an age now where, like a lot of the things that I look back on the past, right? Okay, I reflect. You know, I'm 40, and I'm gonna tell you, if you're over 40 and you're trying to better yourself, just stop. You're not gonna better yourself. And when I say you're not gonna better yourself, I mean better yourself like go back to when you try to capture the things you used to do when you supposed to have did it, but you didn't do it. You feel me? Like I can't type, but I didn't realize how important typing was till right now. I fucked off all my good typing years calling people gay who was going to typing class. It was like me and 6 other dudes, like, what you doing? You want to be a secretary? What the? And now I can't type.
He had reached that point with that special and with the material he was working on and his performances where he was just getting better. Now he really had all the tools finally honed. I thought he was just taking off.
Let's discuss harassment for a second. Why can't I harass you? Sometimes. I can never harass you, never.
I always say it was like Socrates, you know, like he had that Socratic thing, and he liked to ask questions and then keep asking people different questions and then work spontaneously, trying to provoke things, trying to stir things up, you know?
I think you should be able to comment on any part of the body that you see. I'm serious. What's your name? Jeannie. Now, Jeannie, no disrespect, but if I work with you, I should be able to walk in and go, oh, Jeannie, beautiful titty meat you have there. And, because I see that. And I'm not being foul, just, you know, whoa.
And he really had a lot of fun doing stand-up. When I picture him on stage, I always picture him, the laugh he would do after a crowd would either totally get what he just said or be like, what the fuck? Which I think a lot of times he liked that better.
Like, I think there should be a holiday, for lack of a better word, harassment day, but not, that sounds whatever, but I mean a day, I say the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And it's a beautiful day, flowers and everything. You buy flowers, you just real cool, you walk up, you're respectful, you say, hey, how are you? And you go, happy harassment day. And you just like say, listen, I was wondering all year if you would suck my dick in the broom closet. Hey, I gotta go, man. Y'all take care of yourself. Thank you very much.
You know when a comic kills, he killed. And he said something that I never expected him to say. And we were in the hallway at the backstage at the Skirball. He was still there, but he was like, there was a car waiting for him and there was people and he was gonna go. And remember, he was like, John, it's a good job, man. And it was sincere. It wasn't fucking, it was like, I was like, wow.
I remember he called me up and like, Keith, what is the barbershop saying? Because I always tell him, if the barbershop ain't talking, nobody gives a shit. And the barbershop was talking. You know, like he had arrived to where he wanted to be at in the elephant in the room. Because he knew that was going to be the thing.
I'm very happy with the special. I'm very happy with the fucking people that did it. I'm excited. And I'm never like that. I really want this thing to push.
Are you willing to play the game a little bit with these people?
I want to badly. I'm trying. But I think fame might call in about 6 months to a year.
He was right there in the chair, not saying anything. And, you know, for the first time in the 10 years I knew him, I saw a tear come down his face, and I just wiped it off, and I was like, oh, no, we're not doing that.
I got a phone call from Vaughn, and I took the phone call, and when she said he had a stroke, I was numb.
I just remember I wanted to get to him, and I couldn't. I just wanted to go to him.
I think Jim Norton had called me and said, look, we got to meet and go to a hospital. I'm like, what?
It's just terrible. You're just seeing him lying there, this guy that was so, so alive.
And deny, because you don't know enough. So you think, oh, he's gonna get out of it. Yeah, okay, he had a stroke and it'll be fine in a couple days or whatever.
I was in his room, and I went over to, kind of wake him up, because he could open his eyes. And he didn't wake up.
His mom was with him. And when I walked into the room, his body was there, but you knew he wasn't.
It sucked. Because no one's gonna understand it. Because it's mine. It's my thing I had with him. You weren't there driving in my two-seater Nissan for hours. You weren't taking a bus with him and leaning on his shoulder and falling asleep like he was my fucking father. All these times I had with him, and now they're just memories.
Hi. My name is April Hart, and I'm a stepdaughter of Patrice O'Neal.
We were all home, and my daughter came out of her room, and she was like, Mommy, I want to speak at the funeral. And she said, everybody's gonna be there talking about how funny he is and comedy, and she's like, they don't know what a good daddy is. I gotta tell them he's a great dad.
Mr. P was truly a spectacular, special, intelligent, and helpful person. He's been there for me and my mom every step of the way. He truly was a blessing. I don't think I would be the person I am today without Patrice O'Neal.
Patrice was my best friend. He is a huge part of my confidence, what I have today. I laugh at my big head because Patrice told me I had a big head. That's the only reason why I'm confident in my big head, is because of Patrice O'Neal.
Put your glasses on, but don't worry about her.
Patrice always told me, you cannot give a crap what anyone says about you. You have to love yourself, and he's always gonna be close to me. I have his fingerprint right here. I still feel like losing Patrice is a part of me that I can never get back.
Oh, man. So how's everybody? Good? You ever feel evil for nothing? You just go, wow. I even asked how you doing, but I really didn't. It was a lie. That question was a lie, yeah. It's hard to be honest, man. Honesty's not the greatest thing to be. It's just no one wants to hear, yeah.
He said this thing to me one time, which I never forgot. And when you guys were talking about doing this, I made sure that I wrote it down again. He goes, I ain't up there telling jokes. Fuck jokes. I'm up there explaining how I fucking feel. And a lot of times, how I feel is fucking complicated. And I thought that was just such a great explanation of his approach, you know? Because he was funny, and there were obviously jokes in there, but that's not what he was doing.
Like, I mean, I believe in God, but like, I'm not deep into religion. Like, I'm too afraid to not believe in God, you know? Like, I'm not an atheist. I'm like, before that, like, I believe in God when I'm on planes. Like, I really believe in God.
His style, which is like, I'm gonna say what I believe, and it's gonna be obnoxious and maybe inappropriate and offensive to a lot of people.
When I get on planes, I look at some old lady struggling with her bags, having trouble putting it in overhead, and I'm like, wait a minute, lady, let me get that for you, ma'am. Let me put that heavy bag up there for you, cause, you know, look, God, look what a great guy I am helping this woman with her bags. You ain't gonna let the plane crash, are you, Lord Jesus? Cause I'm a good person.
And then I'm gonna explain my situation in such a way that it's so funny that even if people are going, I don't like what you're saying, I don't like you.
And then when the plane lands, the lady's looking at me like, you wanna get my bags? I'm like, no, like what? I kept the plane in the air, you selfish bitch.
I'm laughing because he pulled it off. Not everybody can do it or should do it. He was the master at it.
Hey, I gotta go, man. Y'all take care of it. Thank you very much.
I think about him every day. I'll never not think about him. I mean, he was too big a part of my life. You wish he was around to see, would he have hated this Cosby thing? Oh, fuck, Trump is the president. Oh my God, this movement, that movement. You know, what would he say about this? What would he think about this? He was just about to be one of the greats. Not that he isn't, but he was about to be forever.
We'll always celebrate him. We'll always speak on his behalf when it comes to the greats and some of the best and baddest to touch the microphone. He's in that group. He's in that group, whether you like it or not.